I know. You probably think that this is some click funnel to force you to buy a home, but it's not. I'm going to explain to you how 8% mortgage rates could help some home buyers. I know it sounds crazy to hear, but we always need to keep in the historical context that it's not that high historically. It's definitely high compared to what a lot of us are riding on our homes now, between 2.5% and 4%. So I get it. It's a changing landscape as we go. Rates are expected to hit 8%. Here's what you need to know, and here's who it could work for. Listen, and that's not to say you have to do it. If you really think like, hey, look, these payments are insane for the type of house I want, and you either have to compromise the house or wait, and you'd rather wait, just wait. But the only thing I'll tell you when people say, hey, I'm going to wait out rates, here's my question to you. How long are you willing to wait? And number two, what evidence are you basing your wait on? We have no idea when the rates are going to get better. So we don't know if 8 is going to be terrible or historically a little bit high. Maybe it's 6 later. We really don't know. So who can this benefit 8% rates? Look, we know it's going to knock some people out of the market. They're getting fed up. The affordability for the house that they want isn't going to match up at 8%, especially not if you're using loans that have PMI. Those are going to be a big issue. PMI is private mortgage insurance, and it just adds a little bit more on top. So who can this really help if rates go to 8%? Remember, if rates go to 8%, sellers are in trouble also, because there's just not going to be as many people buying. The fever is not going to be there as much, even in hotter neighborhoods at 8% for people to buy. And as you go into the higher end, those payments are higher and higher. $1 million homes, those payments are very substantial. So if you're in the level where you're very, very qualified and you don't need a giant house and you can buy the smaller house that maybe sustains you for 5 years, that may be a great option. I wouldn't be going up to my top as a buyer right now. I just wouldn't. If you're qualified for $1 million, I would try not to spend $1 million, because that million is going to cost a lot. But what if you are looking at $1 million homes and those are 4 bed, 3 baths, and they have a bigger backyard, but you don't even have kids yet? Or maybe you're not going to have kids, or maybe your parents aren't going to come to move in. So what if you looked at a 3 bed, 1.5 in a neighborhood that you really like? That's about 600 grand. And you're going to save all that money. The payments are going to be appropriate. And you are going to grow out of that house, though. One of the problems with home buyers in general is they get this thing in their head that every home has to be like a forever home. It doesn't really work out that way. Take it from somebody who's moved like 50 times in his life. Look, you can just go and make the next house just as nice. And sometimes if you want to buy or have to buy, and you can figure out how to adjust on price, you might be in for a good appreciation window for the next 2 years. What if you buy that house for 6 and it's still small, but maybe it's up to 7? And maybe you got some good enjoyment out of it before, however, your family expands, whether it's parents, kids, friends, roommates, whatever. A lot of people are looking at houses that are too big for them because they want to grow into them and they don't want to think about moving again. But real estate is an investment. So every time that you put that money down, you want to make sure that you're going to earn on it. And when rates are this high and you have to compromise something, I would be looking at the size of the house, the price of the house, not necessarily saying, hey, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and wait it out until rates come down. I'm going to remind you again, when you tell me I'm going to wait until they come down, I'm always going to ask you, how long are you willing to wait? And what evidence are you basing that on when they're going to come down? That's what I want to know. I'm Jonathan Green. I run a big real estate team called Streamline Properties on Market. If you need help buying a home in the state of New Jersey, give us an email, info@streamlined with a D, .properties.